It's been about 4 or 5 minutes since I first started the fire, and I've allowed it to burn down a little bit so the flames weren't shooting up quite as high. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and put this pot on. It's still putting out some smoke. I don't know, it may be that fire starter may be what's putting out the black smoke. I'm not sure. But just wanted to go ahead and stick that. Of course, it doesn't matter if it gets smoked up or not. That's what it's for. I'm going to put that on and just continue to stoke the fire a little bit and see about how long it takes for this water to boil. Like I say, I'm just burning twigs, and I'm also burning some of the small pieces of maple. And I say I'm not sure exactly what's creating all that smoke. There's a pretty heavy black smoke, and it may be that those fire starters may not be fully consumed, and they may be putting out a fairly good black smoke. But that's just one of the things you have to live with this kind of stove. It may be burning some of the galvanization off of the wire. I'm not really sure. But obviously a stove like this particular stove would be too large for taking on any kind of backpacking trip. And probably you would only use something like this maybe for an emergency, or if you want to do some outdoor cooking and didn't want to build a large fire or something like that. It's in the mid-80s here today, so you know, when you get away from this a little ways, it's not too intolerable. And so you can build a pretty hot fire in a fairly small, confined area, and cook if you needed to cook or wanted to cook outside, or in an emergency or something like that. You might not have power or gas or whatever, so you may have to resort to some type of cooking. So I've got that on the stove. It's been on there about 2 minutes. Already starting to get some bubbles forming. But I'll stop the camera and wait a few more minutes and then come back. It's been about 5 minutes since I put this pot on the stove. As you can see, this thing is still smoking pretty heavily. It's pretty much turned this pot black. And apparently that maple that I'm burning is producing a lot of smoke, which I wouldn't have thought it would have, but as you can see, it is smoking pretty heavily. So I guess one of the tricks would be to find out what kind of fuel would burn cleanest. And right now it's been 5.5 minutes or so, and the water has just started to boil. So you did get a pretty hot fire pretty quick on that. It's not a rolling boil yet, but I'm gonna leave that lid off, and as you can see, it's smoked up this pot pretty well. But like I say, I mean, it is what it is. In an emergency situation, if this is the best you can do, it would be a lot better than nothing. But the stove is easy to light. It is easy to keep going. It doesn't take any kind of fancy fuel. Like I say, here I just walked around and picked up a bunch of sticks like this and broke them up and pretty much used that as fuel. And so you can, you know, it cost me nothing to build a stove, practically. Used a can that I already had, and it works. It's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not the cleanest thing in the world, but it does the job. And in an emergency, that's basically what you would need. But I'm getting some pretty decent coals built up down in the bottom, and I do have a good boil on the water after about 6 minutes or so. And so it does what it's supposed to do, and it would suffice in a pinch to do some cooking, heating water, sterilizing water, whatever you needed. But they're cheap, they're easy to build, and they're functional, and that's the main thing. And I'll probably, while I've got this thing lit, I may do some more cooking. And but look like this water boiled in 5 or 6 minutes. Brought a quart of water to a boil. A pretty messy proposition, but effective, and it did what it was supposed to do. So this is John. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take a few minutes and try to make you one of these if you have a need for it. Like I say, this particular size would probably not be any good for backpacking, but get a different size can and a little bit different configuration, you could probably rig up something that would also be suitable for backpacking. And it burns just about anything fairly efficiency, however with a lot of smoke, so take that into consideration when you're going to use it. And that's one reason I didn't want to use any of my good pots. I just went and bought this cheap grease pot. It's lightweight and didn't cost a lot of money, so I don't mind getting it smoked up, and I can probably take a Brillo pad and probably clean that up pretty good. But if I'm going to use it primarily on this stove, what difference does it make? Just get the loose residue off and pretty much be done with it. But I'll check you later on another video.